Hi there, welcome back to our third session on iBooks Author, and this week we're going to recap quite a few of our previous activities, including popover diagrams and glossary and index. We're going to look at other aspects of iBooks, including inserting media and interactive images. We're going to look at the interactive image widget and see how we can use that as part of our book. We're also going to continue with our book design and insert a third chapter and delve deeper into some of the other tools like masking and inserting images. So hold on to your mice, follow the instructions, and let's see how far we can go with this piece of work. So we've got our first chapter of the brain. We've got our section 1 here. We haven't really given that a title yet. Let's give that a title to tidy it all up. Let's call this something like brain information. And as you can see, that should update nicely across here as well as time goes on. We've got our brain information over here. We need to give this section a title. Okay, and that's our section 1 over here. And we've got our page of text here we can continue to use if we like and add more images. So I'm going to add an image gallery in here, just like I've done here. This is an image gallery. We're going to add a slightly different image gallery and try some different images in there as well. So back up to my widgets toolbar, looking for gallery. Gallery appears. I'm going to move it to this side of the page here. I'm going to call this, give it a title. I'm going to call this brain images. I've just clicked here and I can now start to drag and add titles. Over here on my widget toolbar, it's come up with ready space for images, but I'm going to go to the layout first and just select how I want to lay it out. So I've got a title there, got top and bottom, I've labelled it gallery, but really I would like to maybe call it something else, so I'm going to call it image. And it's called it 1.1 because that's the sort of second one on that page in the first thing, but I can get rid of the label if I don't want it on here. Okay, I can get rid of the caption at the bottom if I don't want it. Okay, add it back again. I can also get rid of the background if I don't want that background. But I think we'll stick with the title we've got and we'll leave it as image. Okay, but also maybe this bottom text, I want to get rid of that. I could just put something like a selection of images. And I'm going to go onto the internet here. I'm going to go ask it for pictures of a human brain. And I'm going to go in there and see what images I can find. Some similar to what we found before. I'm going to go a bit deeper down here to find some different ones. And here we go. I've got a nice sort of black and white diagram there. That'll do for our first image. And maybe we'd like a labelled diagram, our second image. Maybe we'd like a part diagram, our third image. For a fourth image, let's have this one with the nice coloured sections top and bottom. Now if I click on these images on here, I can also make them bigger or smaller. And I can go to the next one. I can make that bigger if I want, just to zoom into a particular area. And I can even pick up the area, move the picture up and move the picture to where I'd like it to go. Just look at the parietal lobe here on the top corner, what that picture's about. Okay, and then I can maybe move on to the next picture. And on this picture, we're going to focus in on the occipital lobe here on this side. And as you can see now, we've got a media gallery with our information, and I can just remove that text from there and I can type something in a selection of images. Okay, and that's given me a ready-made little media item in my page. So on this side of the page, we're going to do a widget called a interactive image. So for this interactive image, similar type of box, but you can call it whatever you like. Again, we can hide the layout, we can hide the label. So hide the label, we don't want that. And we can just have an image in the middle, and we can have these two text boxes pop up when we click on them. As you can see, it's happening there, and a little bit of a zoom in. Okay, so let's drag a good image of a brain in, and let's label it up and give some detail for our students to use. So let's find something we can use that's quite good. This first one's very good here. It's quite a good sort of diagram. Okay, so I've gone to the final image on that diagram. Make myself a bit of space here. Let the final image load. Final image in, then I'm going to want to sort of label a few of the elements inside there in these little pop-up diagrams you might see here. Here we go. So our diagram is loaded. We can drop it in here. And now we can start thinking about labeling up some of the items. So to start off with, we want our diagram sort of central. And our first piece of text, we're going to have it zooming in on the temporal lobe. And the text is going to give us a bit of information about the temporal lobe. Okay. So what we do here is we are going to type in the title here. And we're going to go and grab a little bit of information from this web page on what the temporal lobe is, and we're going to add that to our little box. So looking down here, I'm looking for what the temporal lobe's all about. Frontal lobes, frontal lobe, looking for the information on temporal lobes. Here we go, temporal lobe. There we go. And this information here will do nicely. I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to move across to our interactive diagram. And I'm going to move that pointer to the right place. Picking up and moving it. And then on the text, I'm going to click and paste the text I've just taken and retain the style on the diagram there. Okay. So once I click on this item, people will see this information about that one there. And that's our first pop-up little information, as you can see there. Okay, we're going to go back to our previous one, our other lobe. Okay, this is the parietal lobe, different lobe of the brain. And I'm going to select that as the view I want on the parietal lobe. And we're going to add some information in here on the different types of. So we go back into here, we find information about the parietal lobe. Here we go. Just to identify and we're going to put the information into here. And I can find the box. It's been a bit difficult to get to. Here we are. I'm going to paste that in. And as you can see, this time I didn't choose retain style. This time I told it to paste it in as the style in there, which is a little bit nicer and looks a bit more professional. So I think next time I would paste them in there. Okay. So as you can see here, the whole idea of this diagram works on the following principle. When you are operating this with your iPad, there will be several sections, these two bits of text, and you'll be able to click on them, and this will happen. It will zoom to the right place and show you the information. And the same will happen on this piece of text here. You will touch it, and it will zoom to that section and show you what's there. So this will be the general look of it. I'll just make it a little bit bigger to cope with it. There we go. And you'll tap on there with your finger, and this will happen. You'll tap on there with your finger, and that will happen. And that's the idea of this pop-up sort of interactive image. Okay, so remember, it's an interactive image, and it allows us to label things. And if you'd like to add more labels, you wanted to label all the lobes, you can press plus and add more, and up would come another table, and you can click on it and pick up the item, drop it where you'd like it, and there it would give you another space to write on there. Okay, as I don't want that, I'm just going to click on the outside of it and press the delete key, and it disappears. Also, you can control it from over this side, where you can add more, you can add labels, you can show transport controls at the bottom, you can show descriptions in a sidebar. It comes over. There's lots of different layout options here. You can have an interesting go with. There's captions for the bottom. There's backgrounds you can get rid of or add to, increase the margin, decrease the margins. The usual flexibility you get with most Apple items. I'm going to leave the background on there because I think it adds to the whole style of the book. I'm also going to re-add my label at the top. I'm going to type the text in there and call it Lobes of the Brain. It's going to be a whole page though, because it's quite a big one. There we go. Lobes of the Brain. Okay, so that's our second thing. We've added in there, we've added a media gallery, we've added an interactive widget. This is split into two sections, 3A and 3B. Please look for 3B to carry on. Thanks for listening. Bye bye.